From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, Florida State, indeed a 8 seed. Now what? We break down the Tallahassee Regional, and we're forcing the football. Recruiting-wise, what's the missing piece to start locking down elite high school prospects? And some thoughts on the top 40 as it gets set to unveil. Wake Up Warchant presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. CPTallybar.com, the website. Daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday for only $8.99. Still can't believe it to this day. And then on Tuesdays, everybody, they get really crazy. They say, forget it, all day, guys. All day tacos. Hard, soft shell, beef or chicken, $8.99. I wonder what's the most amount of tacos that were ever consumed by a diner at the Corner Pocket on a Tuesday when the special was going down. Get ambitious, everybody. Set the record. Set the pace yourselves. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Once you hit the thumbs up, 5-star rating review as well, we certainly would appreciate it. We being myself, Aslan Hajavandi, and Corey Clark. What's going on, Corey? How are you, man? How's your Memorial Day weekend, pal?
It was great. It was great. Got to see Brady play some baseball. Got to a couple graduation parties up here in Atlanta. Counting down the hours until Dave Matthews. So it's all going well, Aslan. It's all going great.
Little baby. All right, let's get right to it. Probably not going to be a really long show, everybody. I might try to force the football a little bit later, but no guarantees. Seeds got announced on Sunday night, or at least regional host sites. Tallahassee, obviously one of them. And then on Monday afternoon, high noon, we get the full field. We get the national seeds listed out there. And Florida State is 8th. They were a national seed, which I don't think was maybe totally unexpected. But it's, when you hear Link talk about the way he felt after they beat Virginia, and then they beat Wake on top of that, and they still just got the 8th seed, you almost think about, wow, they probably really needed to also get that win over Wake to cinch things up. But nonetheless, Florida State, they are an 8 seed. If they can be successful this weekend, they will then also host the following weekend for a super regional. The field includes Stetson, who took down the Noles earlier this month, as well as UCF and Alabama. And that's to be kind of expected, right, Corey? Like, you're going to get some of these actual truly regional matchups, and then you're probably going to get thrown an SEC team as a 2 seed in your regional. So I'm not too offended by it. Your thoughts on the seeding and the regional for Tallahassee?
Yeah, I mean, the big news is that it's your top 8 seed. So if you keep winning, you keep playing at Hauser. And you're matched up with Oklahoma, which could either be the Sooners or Duke for a 3-game series next weekend if you get out of this one, which is an if. I mean, but this is always the same, Aslan. It's always going to be an SEC school, is one of them. It's always going to be an in-state school that won a conference, so like Florida Gulf Coast or Stetson or North Florida, or in this case Stetson or UCF occasionally, and then UCF's the other. I guess they're the 2.
No, Alabama. Is Alabama the 2 or the 3?
It really doesn't matter. I'm not sure. I don't know. I thought UCF is the 2, but maybe Alabama's the 2. But either way, this is what it always is. College baseball always does this. It's it would be cool to, like, if I don't know, man, UC Irvine came to Tallahassee or and Oregon. Like, they got to fly anyway. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's a cost-cutting measure or if it's just like laziness.
The Gators. Gators are going to the West Coast, right?
Oh, they're going to where are they going? Not the West Coast, but somewhere in the Midwest, maybe.
Oh, they're playing in one of the Texas.
Oklahoma State. I think they're playing Stillwater.
All right. I saw a projection that had them maybe going out to Lake Elsinore, but that didn't go the case. And by the way, Bama 2 seed, UCF 3 seed, Stetson 4
there we
seed.
go. Clean it up. So yeah, I think that I would like to see some other types of schools. You just know, just like in softball, an SEC team is coming to Joey and Graff, and wasn't UCF here? Yeah. UCF was here for softball too. So yeah, it's always going to be UCF, and it's always going to be an SEC school. It's like switch it up a little bit, man. Why can't Army be here? But either way, you can't really argue with regionals are always tough, and there's no guarantee you're going to win. There's no guarantee you're going to win a game. Florida State, the last time they were a national seed, they lost 2 in a row in the regional and were done. Drew Parrish threw a pitch came back out on the mound. It was kind of a goofy decision, but whatever. And that happened to them in 2014, too. They were number 1 national seed. In fact, I think the last 2 times they've been a top 8 national seed, they didn't even win 1 regional game. So,
and they lost to an SEC team. I think Alabama beat them in
Alabama
14.
knocked them out, yeah. So Georgia Southern beat them the first game, and then Alabama knocked them out. So this is, again, the point being, college baseball now, there are no guarantees. Stetson, as Aslan said, they played twice this year. Stetson beat them once, and then also the only other time they played Stetson, they lost 1-0. You know what I mean? Like Stetson lost 1-0.
Right.
So Florida State lost the game, and then won a game 1-0. So there is nothing about this as an automatic W. And even if you win that game, you got UCF or Alabama, capable teams waiting for you. But that's how regional play goes, man. That's how regional play goes. The number one thing is the easiest path to Omaha, the best way for this particular team to get to Omaha is to have a home path where they're only at home.
Absolutely.
And so if they keep winning, they get to play at Hauser. So that was the big news from Monday.
Yeah. Also, by the way, this is the 12th time since I guess this is 1999 they've gone to the super regional format where they have these national seeds. This is the 12th time Florida State's been a national seed. It is a NCAA record. So,
okay, all right.
Just goes to show you how awesome this program's been for so long and how we're due. We are due finally. I don't say we, the royal we, everybody. Mm-hmm. I did want to get your thoughts. Obviously, there will be 2 games on day 1 in this regional. Florida State will be taking on Stetson. The other game will be Alabama taking on UCF. The first game is going to be at noon, and Florida State is actually going to play in that one. And then the game at 6 p.m. is going to be UCF and Alabama. I saw you tweeted about some kind of dubious thoughts, or at least you're a little skeptical about the reasoning behind that. Did you get any explanation that makes you feel a little bit better or explains it?
No, it sounds like it was Link's decision. Like Link had the choice, and he wanted the noon game because it keeps you more on schedule. You know your schedule better than if you're the night game and you have to make up because of rain or lightning in the area or whatever, and you have to delay it till 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. I get that. Like if you're going into the weekend assuming, okay, there's going to be a 2-hour weather delay. You just know it. Just chalk it up. There's going to be, put weather in quotes sometimes, but there's going to be a 2-hour delay, a 4-hour delay. Well, if you're the noon game, then even if your game gets delayed 4 hours, you're playing at 5:30. If it gets delayed in the 3rd inning, you're playing at 5:30. You could still have a really big crowd. You could have a nice crowd at 5:30. If your game gets delayed 3 hours and you're the 6 o'clock game, man, we've seen those, right, Aslan?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
11:30 with that NC State game from a month ago, that Friday night that was delayed for no reason. It was, like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I was at Corner Pocket watching it. I know that. But so it couldn't have been after 2 because that's when it closes. But, yeah, it was late at night. There was nobody there. So you don't want that for a regional game. But so I get it if you're worried about weather, which you should be in June in Tallahassee. But otherwise, I hate it. If the weather is perfect this weekend, I just hate it. I hate it for the fans. They've showed up loud and proud all season, and now for what amounts to the biggest game of the year, because it's the first game of regionals, there's no tailgating. I guess they have to miss work. It's not going to be the same crowd. It's going to be ridiculously hot, probably. I don't like that for the fans. I get it from Link's point of view if you're worried about weather, but from a home crowd advantage point of view, from rewarding your fans point of view, I don't like choosing the noon game. I just don't. I don't like anything about it. The Hauser at night is in a completely different environment than Hauser at noon on a Friday. So that's what bothers me about the decision. I'm first guessing it. The fact of the matter is you hope it doesn't matter, right? It shouldn't matter. But, the ball flies differently on a Saturday. Maybe Carson Dorsey, if he's pitching, he pitches with a little more juice at night than he does waking up at 8 in the morning for a game in ridiculous heat. Now, the other team has to pitch in it, too, and play in it, too. It's just not going to be – you wait 6 years, man, for a postseason atmosphere at Hauser again, and then they get a noon on a Friday. Not a huge fan of the decision, but if they win on Friday, I assume that next game is a night game.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, and that's the big look, man. That's the big game. That winners bracket game on Saturday that's the big game. That's where the juice will be. You're either playing Alabama or Central Florida with Jamie Arnold on the mound for a spot in the championship game of your regional. That is where it will be electric. It had a chance to be electric on Friday night. It will not be electric Friday at noon. But go win it anyway.
Can I ask something stupid?
Okay.
I usually don't ask for permission. I just go ahead and say it usually. But
I'm in
a
you
good
can't.
mood. All right.
No, you can't ask me something
Moving
stupid.
along.
Move on.
Let's force the football.
No, go ahead. What did you have?
So I think manager Corey Clark would want to save his ace and for a winner's bracket game on Saturday night. I know he doesn't want to count his chickens before they're hatched, but you kind of have to in this situation. Do we think that we talk about all the juice, all the energy that would be at Dick Howser Stadium on a Friday night for a 6 p.m. regional game, first one there since 2018, first postseason game, since that Auburn debacle 2 years ago? Like, would it maybe be easier on a guy like Carson Dorsey and maybe not have as much emotion flowing around him? Not maybe you don't feel that energy as much, because if you want to save Jamie Arnold for that winner's bracket game, you feel like you just want to set up Carson Dorsey for as much success as possible, and maybe that's kind of a sleepy-ish noon game.
Maybe I could, but they were pretty sleepy environments up there in Charlotte. And
Right.
my man didn't handle it well. When you can hear conversations from the left field stands, he didn't handle that well either. I think he's pitched pretty well at home this year.
Yeah, he has.
And some of those have been, big series. He pitched against Miami, so those have been big series. I think he could feed off that energy a little more than a sleepy nooner. But again, it might not be sleepy. I might be, dismissing what this crowd will be, because it has been a long time. It is a starved fan base. Maybe they do still show up on Friday at noon and sell that place out. And maybe the heat doesn't scare people away, or they can get off work. Whatever the case is, I hope that happens. I think this fan base deserves it. So I really hope they win on Friday so they can have that what will amount to a electric, really cool atmosphere on Saturday night. But I get what you're saying. Maybe Dorsey gets too overamped if there's 6,000, but I just feel like he pitched pretty well this year in spots. He pitched well. The first time we even started talking about that kid, right, was at Florida. Did he pitch well against Florida?
Yeah.
And that was so in Gainesville, when Florida was like a top 5 team. So he handled that environment well. I think what I've seen is that he handles big crowds better than not big crowds.
I'm looking at his stats from this year. Man, he went 6 innings against Wake Forest. He went 6 innings at Duke. Both of those games on the road. Both games that Florida State ended up winning. So maybe we've kind of over-exaggerated his comfort at home versus the road. But obviously the last 2 games, his last 2 outings, not great. It did kind of get bumped up a little bit by Georgia Tech, but obviously this offense kind of bailed him out and being able to play fairly well in that home finale. So, all right, we got that kind of situated. So we're on board with that, though, right? We're going to start Carson Dorsey in this game against Stetson and then save Jamie Arnold for what we expect to be the winner of the it's obviously going to be the winner of the Alabama-UCF game, but we'll expect, I guess, Alabama.
Oh, I don't know if you should expect that. I think that's a coin flip game. And I would assume, yes. I think – look, man, the goal, right, Aslan, is to win the regional. That's the goal. It's
so
not
how do you do that? How do you do that, Corey?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you start doing and I always loved 11 for this. That's the advantage of being the 1 versus the 4. Theoretically, your second best pitcher should be able to beat the 4's best pitcher. Like, even if Dorsey isn't incredible, your offense should beat up enough on the number the best pitcher from Stetson, the best starting pitcher from Stetson, and they don't have very good ones. Your offense should be able to do enough that even if you don't have your ace going, you should win that game. That is the recipe that 11 used to win 19 regional games in a row or whatever it was. You save your ace for Saturday because the goal is to get to the championship game and win it. The goal is to get to next weekend. As far not the only path, but the easiest path by far is to have your best pitcher going against the team on Saturday night in the winner's bracket. Yes, you could pitch Jamie Arnold on Friday night. Sorry, everyone. Friday at noon. you could pitch Jamie Arnold Friday at noon, and that increases your chances of winning that game significantly. But it decreases your chances of winning game 2 significantly. And the end game is to get out of the regional. So the best path is, yes, to do to save your guy for game 2, just like they've always done. They did it with C.J. Van Eyck in 2019. Just list the guys. Gil Martin back in the day, he always pitched the second game of a regional. So that's what you do with these guys. Luke Weaver, they pitch the second game. You hold them for the second game because that theoretically is the better team you're playing. It's also a more important game because it gets you to where you only have to win one more, and whoever meets you on Sunday has to win twice. So yeah, I think that's the route to go. It would be nice if you had a guaranteed number 2 starter that you could depend on. Let's just act like this week never happened for Carson Dorsey. Like it didn't even matter, it didn't count, and that he will be the guy that's pitched for most of the season. Frankly, he's been a pretty good pitcher for most of the season. He'll show up on Friday. Give you a good outing, doesn't have to be impeccable, give you a good outing where your offense can do damage, and you can kind of hopefully cruise in to that second game with Arnold. And a bullpen that's got some arms available.
All right.
Cam Leiter, too. Link did say again, he keeps alluding to the fact that Cam Leiter could and should be available this weekend.
I was going to say, we tweeted out from the Warchant account, Cam Leiter will be throwing another bullpen session at some point this week. If it goes as planned, he will be available to come out of the bullpen. How likely do you think that is? We're not trying to call Link a fibber. And ideally, like, what situation do you want to see him come in? Like, do you want to see like an 11-0
no
game against Stetson and he comes in and gets some innings, or?
No, that's a waste. I think at this point, look, man, Cam Leiter, you've seen what's come out of that bullpen. All of them have had nice moments, save for a couple. All of them have shown they can get you outs, but not consistently. And Cam Leiter, if you're only trying to get 3 to 6 outs from him, even though he hasn't pitched in a live game in 2 months, 2.5 months, he, in my opinion, is still a better option than most of the dudes in that pen. So let's say you're beating Stetson 5-3 in the 8th. That, to me, is who would you go to? Oxford, maybe?
Yeah.
Oxford probably deserves, but other than that, there's nobody that you're like, absolutely, he's going to lock it down for us. Cam Leiter isn't a bad idea, even though he's pitched 2. So the point being, I don't think you waste an inning, because I don't know how many innings he's got in that arm that they want to. I don't know what his pitch count is. Yeah. And I don't know what his recovery time will be if he throws 20 pitches. So I don't know that you waste an outing just getting him work, just getting his feet wet. Like, you're going to need – he has to get you valuable outs this weekend if he's going to pitch. Don't waste it on either you're down 5 or up 8. Like, don't waste it on that.
All right. So,
my opinion.
I mean, you don't even – I mean, you really can't even think about do you think about a Game 3 start, or is that what we talk about in the next show?
Yeah. I don't know what I don't know. I'm sure they are. They have a plan, but I have no idea. I have no idea what you would do.
Is there any chance Connor Whitaker could start Friday afternoon at noon, and then like him and Dorsey almost platoon?
Then what do you do Sunday though? If you get there, yeah, I don't know, man. It's not a bad idea. I just think, maybe you start Whitaker. No, I would start Dorsey. Clearly, that was not great when he came in relief of Whitaker. But I would, I think Whitaker is a guy that maybe you hold for the Game 3 if you need him.
Okay. All
right. I don't
know. Good problems.
In a best case scenario, everyone, you're up 12-0 on Stetson.
Yes.
And you don't have to pitch Whitaker at all, or you don't have to pitch Oxford at all. And then those guys are available Saturday and Sunday. I'd say those are probably 2 most dependable arms coming out of the pen, are those 2. Again, Abraham, Charles, Holtz, they've all had nice moments. But those 2 are your 2 dependable veteran guys. If you get up a big enough lead, you don't have to use them. And that would be awesome. But, that's might be asking too much.
All right, well, then conversely, Corey, if you're Florida State, you want to save your ace for what you hope is a Game 2 winner's bracket on Saturday. Stetson does not have that kind of luxury. I would not think they're going to have to throw their top arm. I just don't know if has Florida State even seen it in the 2 games they've played against them in those midweek kind of showdowns or whatever. I think they had a John Madungo who went 5 innings in the loss to Florida State, and then they had a young man by the name of Dylan Jacobs who went 5 1/3 in the win over Florida State earlier this month.
Yeah, the thing about Stetson though is that they don't seem to have. I don't know that they have an ace. In fact, I do know they don't have an ace. You look at these guys. Who'd you say pitched the 5? So the guy that pitched against them on that Tuesday.
The one they lost, John Madungo, he's had 14 appearances, 9 starts.
Yeah. And then, Florida State only scored 1 run in the other game they pitched, but I think Stetson threw like 6 guys that game. I think they were making it a Johnny bullpen game too. So you look at their numbers.
They threw 4 guys.
They have a guy that's made 12 starts. His ERA is 4.85. They have another guy that's made 8 starts. His ERA is 4.48. So, and then another guy, not even Madongo, Daniel Parrott, or Perret. It might be Perret.
I think it's Perret, yeah.
P-R-E-T. He's got a 5.26 ERA. He's made 14 starts. So they have 3 guys that have pitched over 60 innings for them this year. The lowest ERA among them is 4.48. Yeah. So, theoretically, they don't have a guy you're scared of. But that's easy for me to say, right? Like, they lost to this team once. They played this team twice and scored 6 runs total. So maybe Stetson really, really scouts them up well. They have not proven they can hit even, looking at these ERAs is one thing because they don't have a great ERA as a team overall. They give up, they don't strike out a ton. They've given up more home runs than they've hit. Like, it's not an elite pitching staff. It's Stetson. But Florida State's played them twice and scored 6 runs total. The Florida State can do that in an inning. So they've done a really good job of limiting the bats and not necessarily with their best arms, quote-unquote best. So, yeah, man, they're going to pitch their guy. Whoever they think is their best guy is going to be pitching in that game for sure.
Yeah.
But they're also, if he gets in any trouble, I feel like they're going to run out some different looks and some different arms because they don't really have a guy that you're like, okay, let him work out of this. He's given up 2 runs in the first inning, or he's given up 3 runs in the second inning here, second, third, 1 out. Let him work out of this. I don't think they have a guy like that. They're going to throw a lot of different arms at you and hope one of them clicks.
Yeah, and they're 3 weekend guys, if you will. 2 of the 3 are not even Florida natives, which is kind of cool, I think.
Yeah.
And neither of those guys have thrown against a Power 5 team since February when they played West Virginia. So
who is – I want to ask you guys, if anybody's still listening, who's breaking down Stetson?
Why would they be listening? Why would they not be listening anymore?
It's Memorial Day. Who's breaking down Stetson baseball like your boys here? Nobody.
Probably Brett Nevitt.
Fair. That's fair. But other than him, who else? Nobody.
What 2 guys? What 2 guys are doing
What 2
it for
guys?
you?
Yeah, combined. Yeah.
Nonetheless, we persevere through the help of Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Your boy in Nashville right now will be conducting lots of interviews later today, Corey, for the On3 Elite Series going down here in Nashville. Lots of recruits. Maybe we'll talk about that after this read of mine. But VitaminEnergy.com, everybody. Check it out. Shake it and take it. It's a shot, everybody, that gives you 7 hours of energy without any sugar in it. It's all just the caffeine. 260 milligrams of all natural caffeine, that is. And you can choose your varieties, if you will. There's the Immune Plus, there's the Focus Plus, the Mood Plus, Workout Plus. All these different varieties help increase and enhance one aspect that's probably crucial to your performance as a dad, as a mom, as a husband, as a wife, as a worker, as a functioning member of this economy of ours. So make it a little bit better. And you get one for free when you use the promo code WARCHANT BOGO, WARCHANT BOGO. Go to vitaminenergy.com, use that promo code, buy one, and get one free. Noles hooking it up, Noles helping Noles. Vitaminenergy.com, shake it and take it. Yeah, Corey, maybe let's force the football a little bit here.
All right.
2 things. Again, like Link after that game against Virginia it sounded like he was happy as a pig and you know what, and he was like, all right, we can go home. We've done what we need to do. This is for sure one of the 8 best teams in the country. We'll see y'all in Tallahassee. Peace. They just got that 8 seed, just barely got it, but they beat Wake Forest the next day, and Wake Forest is another quad 1 win for them. How much of the campaigning, how many lessons do you think might have been learned from his football counterpart? And I'm not trying to blame anything that happened in December on Mike Norvell, but I just remember those sort of few practices between the Florida and the Louisville games, and either you or I are just kind of having to be like, hey, listen, like this sounds stupid, but they're talking about it out there, Mike. what would happen if you guys didn't make the playoff? And Angel's like, hey, man, like, they're going to do what's right or something. Like he was very like, I'm going to take the high road. I'm going to trust the process, and the process burnt him. Do you think Link took any lessons? Do you think Link's 2 post-game press conferences, which solely focus on him petitioning and campaigning for his team, made a difference?
No, I don't, but it was cool to see. I'm sure it was cool to see and cool to hear from Florida State fans. I don't even know if the people on the committee are they paying attention to post-game press conferences?
Yeah, everyone's a Warchant subscriber on YouTube. Over like 45,000 people.
That's fair. That's fair. They're probably watching it. Like, what's Link? Now, if Link says he's not sure they're a top 8 seed, let's go ahead and give it to Oklahoma. But Link did say it, so I think Link. I don't think it. It's a fair question. I just don't think it had any bearing on Link. I think Link is he's a nonsense guy. No nonsense. I'm sorry. He's not nonsensical. He's no nonsense. And he looks at the situation kind of black and white, and it's binary. Like, you ask me a question, yes, I think we're one of the 8 best teams in the country, and we deserve it. I don't think it's politicking. I think it's him telling his truth. Like, this is how I feel. You ask me a question, this is how I feel. He's pretty good about that. Now, in hindsight, the football head coach should have been politicking like crazy. We didn't even give it merit. You know what I mean? The fact that they might be left out. Nobody even wanted to give it merit or credence. In hindsight, Norvell should have been talking from the mountaintops after the North Alabama game, the Florida game, and especially the Louisville game. Like, this is crazy. Are y'all nuts? Now, he did after the Louisville game, but he should have also been on College Game Day before the Louisville game, talking about, yeah, man, if we win, what are we doing as a sport if we're not in? That's ridiculous. Probably should have said ahead of time, hey, our third-string quarterback is going to play. This is the team you will see on Saturday night in Charlotte. If we win, and we expect to, and we think Brock Glenn's going to be great in the future, is not who would be playing in the playoff, because we will get our starting quarterback back. Obviously, he's our backup, but that's more of what our offense will look like. He should have been doing all that in hindsight. But I give him the benefit of the doubt because nobody knew he had to. Nobody knew he had to politic for an undefeated team from a major conference that beat LSU to get in. But, yeah. But it would be nice if all Florida State coaches learned from that moving forward, most notably Mike Norvell himself, which I think he will. Like this year, if this team is 10-2, let's say they're 10-2, what would have to happen? They're 11-1, but they lose the ACC championship game. Because aren't you automatically in if you win the conference?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's say they're 11-1 before the game.
They'd be 12-1 if they lost the ACC
That's right.
championship game. Yeah.
So let's say they're 11-2. Let's make it, because if they're 12-1, they're going to get any more than a loss.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Let's say they're 11-2. He needs to be talking before the game.
While they're 11-1. While they're 11-1.
Or 11-2, I don't care. Like, before the game. Like, right. If we lose this, we are still one of the best. It's ridiculous that we'd be in this position again. We are one of the 12 best teams in the country. I don't care what happens tomorrow night. Clearly, what happens on the field isn't the end-all, be-all. Records don't mean everything. Look at us. Look how good we are. We deserve. Like, you got to start politicking. Like, yes, if you're 12-0, it's not going to matter. You're going to be one of the top 12 teams, but odds are you're not going to be 12-0. So he needs to learn from his mistake, and if they're in a position, if they're number 9 in the country or number 7 in the country, and they lose, he still needs to be politicking his butt off to try to get in.
See, if he would have just said that Jordan Travis is going to be all right, I think that's what Link's doing to us. He's like, man, if I just tell everybody that Cam Leiter's almost back, the committee's totally going to be swayed. And hey, I want to make up this thing where like you're texting me photos of like Mariano Rivera or something.
Yeah, you cool with that? You cool with that?
Yes, let's do that, Coach. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. And then the second thing, Corey. So I'm in Nashville for this On3 Elite event. I think it's 50, if I'm not mistaken, of the top 20, 25 high school athletes, players in the country. And I asked our guys, Michael Langston and Matt Lasser, to give me like a list of guys I should try to catch up with and talk to while I'm out here, because I don't follow recruiting as much as I used to in my younger days or whatever.
Right.
But I think they gave me like, let me count it here. I think they gave me 10 guys. So 10 out of these 50 guys have some kind of Florida State ties or interest. But, one of them is Jamie French, who I think is kind of eliminated Florida State. But Mike's like, hey, man, if he's there, ask him if he's still considering Florida State. He's from Mandarin. He's plays football with the Trammell Jones young man who's the quarterback in this class, and he was committed to Alabama for a little bit, decommitted. But, he hasn't really said a lot about Florida State. And as I'm researching a lot of these guys, man, there's only like really four or five of these guys, I think, that actually have Florida State visits on the docket. So let's be cynical. Let's say 5. So is that a good ratio, you think? Because obviously we know NIL is going to continue to be a huge component of building this roster, maintaining it for as long as it's a thing. Does that sound about right, that like 5 of the top 50 guys in the country you have sincere, like legitimate, tangible interest in, or does that still sound a little bit lean?
It's lean from where it used to be back in the heyday, Jimbo's heyday, and then obviously the 90s heyday. You were getting, I would say, if you're talking about interest of the top 50, you would be looking at, 15?
Yeah.
Probably, and you'd probably get, 8 visits and 6 commits out of the top 50, something like that, 4 commits. Now, if you get 5 of the top 50, if you get them all, perfect. If you get 3 of them, it's still a little light, but, it's a little light for my taste. But then again, I'm daily changing my opinion on how much any of this matters. Not to impugn the importance of what you're doing in Nashville, Aslan, at all. You're doing the Lord's work up there. I hope you get a lot of good information. But yeah, man, I think that the way it's shifted so much. Okay, say you only get 3 of the top 50. Well, you might get Marvin Jones 2 years later when he's ready to contribute. Yeah. They lost. That was a painful loss that day. By the way, so Brady played speaking sort of Marvin Jones, the baseball games he played on Sunday were at Collins Hill High School, which just happens to be the alma mater of one Travis Hunter.
That's right.
And when Stephanie was there, I'm like, hey, this is where Maya Moore went to school, and she knows who Maya Moore is from the great WNBA player, UConn player, author. And then I'm like, yeah, this is where Travis Hunter went too. She's like, oh, really? And like, where is he now is what she said. Where's Travis Hunter now? I'm like, well, he's rich and he's living in Colorado. He's like, yeah, but he's not. I'm like, well, no, they don't win a lot of football games out there. They haven't, but he's. I don't think he regrets it. He should, but I don't think he regrets it. But yeah, so the point being, going back to, because Marvin was in that class, so Marvin's commitment to Georgia didn't hurt nearly as much, obviously, as Travis's to Jackson State. But in the grand scheme of things, man, okay, you miss out on Jamie French. He might be there in a year to come get. Yeah. It's just such a weird place to be in. I want people to pay attention to recruiting. I do think it's important. I do think it's important to build from within. I think that's the best blueprint, but it's not the only blueprint. And I do think it's sustainable to do what Florida State is doing. Have good recruiting classes. Like, look, man, Azarie, Patrick Payton, the whole a lot of the offensive line, Toa Feely, Hakeem Williams. Like, they have guys that have been recruited that have come up through the system that you're developing.
Shaheem,
yeah, man, exactly. So you got those guys, but also Josh Farmer. It'd be nice also, not nice. It's necessary to go get probably every year 10 to 12 high profile, ready to contribute right away transfers. And so the number by your name in December for national recruiting rankings, high school, might not be as high as you want, or as low as you want, I guess. Maybe you'll be 9 instead of 2. But that does not mean you can't compete and win national championships doing it the way Florida State's doing it. That was a long-winded way to say.
That's fine.
You'd like them to take the next step with the high school kids.
Yeah.
Where why are you only getting 5 out of 50 when it should be in my opinion, when you're Florida State, it should be 11 or 12 out of 50 at least. If you think you're going to hit on half of them, but at the end of the day, if you keep flooding this roster with ready-made, available, ready to contribute right now players, doesn't matter that you miss out on a kid that's not ready to contribute in 2 years. Yeah,
what I really find interesting too is that, like, of this list, there's a pair of kids that are from the state of Texas, like Khalik Lockett and Ty Haywood. He's an offensive lineman. Lockett's a wide receiver. I think like only maybe 3 of the kids on here are actually from the state of Florida, but there's 10 guys that Michael and Matt are like, yeah, there's, catch up with these kids. So you just figure that
So it's not the top 50 in the nation
No,
necessarily.
it is. It is
right?
a top 50 in the nation. But
there's only 3 kids from Florida in the top 50?
Well, no, that have Florida State interests is what I'm saying.
I gotcha.
That's the curious thing to me. It's like you figured if
Yeah.
you're from the state of Florida and you're one of the dudes, like you want to stay in state and you want to come to Florida State, and that might not be. So I'm just kind of interested. I'm trying to figure out what I can ask these kids to kind of try to figure this stuff out about. Like what else do you need to see if you're a recruit in Florida State? Let's just talk, I guess, like offensively. 'Cause I think defensively they're doing all right. There's a linebacker they're after from Lokahatchee.
Okay.
Shout out to them. But I just think if you're Jamie French, man, and you're this other kid, Dallas Wilson, he's committed to Oregon. And he's all in on Oregon. He went to Oregon's spring game. Like, man, you're from the state of Florida. This guy, wherever he's been, Arizona State always had really high-flying offenses. Memphis always had efficient offenses. Florida State now, this is like 2 years in a row, they've shown you they have a really good offense. I mean, DJ Uiagalelei is he's probably not a first-round pick, but, man, he's got an arm. He's played a lot of college football. He's going to probably put you in good opportunities to succeed. Like, what else do you need to see? Because for so long it was like, all right, man, like the product on the field isn't matching up. NIL's been here. So, I mean, like Florida State's checking all these boxes off. Like, I just wonder what that last step is before these kids that are 17, 18 years old see the light now instead of when they're 20 years old and they've played a season elsewhere.
Yeah, it was funny. We were talking about on headlines about that. I can't remember what maybe it was Papuchis. Like somebody was because Papuchis wasn't hitting on defensive ends from the high school ranks, and I'm like, well, if you're a high school recruit, and so like now among the sect of the Florida State fan base, Papuchis is a problem because he can't close, quote unquote.
Oh, jeez.
It's like, man, I get it a little more with Randy Shannon. I get it a lot more with Randy Shannon because it's not like they're pumping linebackers in the league. Well, John Papuchis just had 2 first-round picks in a row at defensive end. And then you could come back and say, yeah, but one guy started at Georgia. I'm just saying.
But I don't care about that.
Nobody should.
Yeah.
But then also, if you're a high school kid that does care about that, and you're like, yeah, but have you developed any – Patrick Payton. Okay, well, never mind, coach. Sorry. Like his position produces at a high level. He's proven he can get guys to the next level. Whether they're, I'm assuming Patrick Payton is going to be drafted whenever he decides to declare for the draft. He's proven he can get them drafted whether they're from Albany, Georgia, or from his own program. So like, what's Papuchis supposed to do? Like they produce, they become national names and big stars. They get drafted. If a defensive end isn't choosing Florida State, you can't put that on Papuchis. There's something else going on. So that being said, it's the same thing here with the overall program. Like, if you're not choosing, if you're a high school kid that's not choosing Florida State, what is Florida State supposed to do? What are they doing wrong? Like they've proven they can win, and they've proven this year they can get guys to the league. So what exactly else are you looking for? How like that? What is Norvell supposed to do? Like what's the next step he's supposed to do? Pay them more? Like tell the mom that the cooking was good? Like be more effusive and effusive in his praise of the cooking? Like what are these guys doing wrong on the recruiting rate in the high school recruits that they can't bring these guys in? And I'm talking to that sect of people that is really worried and bummed out by this. Like what do you want? What are they doing wrong? They have all the camps. They bring all the kids here. They've proven they can win. There is a money element involved that we have no idea how it works. And so it's hard to even comment. Like, is Florida State losing defensive end recruits because they don't want to play for John Papuchis?
Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Let's go. There's other reasons, I'm sure, but it's not because they don't want to play for the guy that has produced 2 straight first-round picks at defensive end.
This was supposed to be a short show, and actually I keep finding stuff to talk about. I know we've got places to be. I've got to go eat some barbecue out here. I know it's the morning.
Man.
It sounds
go
weird,
for
but
it.
I'm starving. So I think we're going to start rolling out the top 40. We won't go over our picks 36 to 40, but a numerous amount of guys who did not make the top 40. Some may find surprising or not, but Ira kind of compiled all this stuff. Robert Scott, was he on your ballot? He was on mine.
Yes, he was on mine.
Okay.
I don't know where, but he was on mine, yeah.
He did not make the top 40. Byron Turner Jr. did not make the top 40. Apparently, I had him 32nd. I had him the highest. I can't believe I did that. Jackson West, Brock Glenn, Luke Kromenhoek did not make the cut. That's very interesting. Florida State Seminoles.
It was hard with that because who's going to be the backup? Like I usually try to put the backup like at 38 or something,
right.
But I don't know who the backup's. Like last year, I'm pretty sure I had Rodemaker on it, but
Yeah.
I don't know who the backup's going to be this year. So it's like it was hard to make that determination.
Really? I mean, you think there's like a legitimate chance Luke overtakes Brock? I think Brock's pretty solidified. But.
Yeah, I think there's a chance. Maybe not a great one, but I definitely think there's a chance.
Omar Graham Jr., Darion Williamson, Ashlyn Barker, neither made the top 40.
Yeah.
Sean Murphy as well.
How about that, by the way? I want people to listen to what Aslan's saying. And we're not the end-all, be-all. We make mistakes. This list clearly doesn't mean the guys that can't make it aren't going to contribute or aren't going to play. We had Johnny Wilson one year like 16 or something. We made mistakes, but think about somebody like Sean Murphy. Not even being in the top 40 of this roster. Sean Murphy was a super-duper high school linebacking prospect that just transferred from Ala flippin' Bama, and he's not even the top 40 of this list right now. That's pretty impressive, right? Like that shows you the depth of the roster. Because 4 years ago, he would have been in the top 15, probably, and now he's not in the top 40.
Yeah. I wonder how many linebackers did make it. We need to do that afterwards, too, like break it down, like how many position guys, like how many receivers made the top 40. Was it more offensive, more defensive guys? Because I feel like when I was filling out my top 40, I was like, all right, man, I think it's going to be mostly defensive guys. Like I had a bunch of defensive guys in my top half. So
I know my top 10 was like 7 of them were defensive guys, maybe 8.
Yeah. All right, well, subscribe to warchant.com to get in the mix on the Tribal Council. Call us names. Tell us that we screwed up really, 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 really bad, and tell us what we should have done. Or you can do it in the comment section of the YouTube if you want. Also, sorry about Ronald Acuna. We recorded that one really early. Turns out it wasn't mild after all. That's a bummer.
It is a bummer, man. Apparently he's made a paper. I mean, how do you blow out a different knee? You're a supreme athlete. He's already had one ACL tear in one knee. Now he's got another ACL tear in the other knee. Like, what's going on, man? Is he just not? His body's going to break down? He also hurt his knee back in 2018 and missed a month. So not great. Not great. Just it's a bummer. And I was texting my friends this. He never runs out ground balls, ever. If he hits a ground ball to short, he is just going to jog. And if he pops it up, he might as well just stand in the batter's box. So the odds that he exerts himself like 5 times a week. So one of the times he exerted himself, he tore his ligament up. Like, he must know, like, I can't test these things out too regularly because I'm telling you, he does not. He runs hard when he hits in the gap, man, and he runs hard on defense when there's a play to be made. But anytime he can shut it down and throttle down, he does with the quickness more than anybody in the league. And then so the one time he's trying to dart back to second, his ligament, like, I'm not used to this. What are you doing? Are you trying to move fast? Oh, let me break in half. Oh, Acuna. That's a real bummer. He's fun to watch. He hadn't been great this year, but he's still really fun to watch, and that's a bummer.
Well, hey, didn't you guys win a World Series without him not too long ago?
That's what I'm saying. As soon as he came back, it was awesome again. We can't even get out of the first round anymore, so maybe this is the best thing.
Who knows? All right, that's a wrap for us. Jeff Cameron's show, I assume, 1 to 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
I hope you all have
headlines.
Oh, headlines. That's right.
It's
Tuesday.
Headlines 1 to 3, yeah.
It's Tuesday. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.